Earth, who's Vice President of Missions for Renewal Ministries, has written a booklet recently called The Gifts, Spiritual Gifts. I've written a booklet called What is the New Pentecost? And so, people could get these booklets. I think they only cost $1 if they go to our website, renewalministries.net, and just click on booklets or free resources, or
it's on the right-hand side for those that are listening. There's a little bookstore icon, and I've gotten this spiritual gifts, and actually, I don't know if it's for a limited time, but it's free right now. So I ordered myself one.
Now, right, they could get a free copy of the spiritual gifts one, and I think the new Pentecost one only costs $1. So there's other good things there too. So if people want to learn more about what these gifts of the Spirit are, more about what the new Pentecost is, and how to appropriate it in their own lives, they can actually just kind of go to our website and get those booklets.
Yeah, one of the things that I seem to notice too, that I think is part of how we're going to be able to effectively witness the mystery of Christ joyfully, is when you recognize areas that maybe you that's where some of the gifts seem to be for you. And I'll just say, as someone that's a speaker, I thought it was not by chance then that a lot of the gifts that I'm noticing I've had, especially after getting your book, so I could say, oh, look at that, like exhortation and knowledge and wisdom are speaking gifts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I thought,
you find them working in you when you're giving talks. Those things be working.
Yeah, I'm like, how interesting that God has totally gifted me in the exact right area of where I feel called to be serving the church. And so I thought to myself, wow, maybe I should look and see with my children. And I'm saying this because I think all of us need to be doing this, and maybe you can contribute some more on this. But if we really want to say, okay, God, yes, I want to give you my fiat, my yes. And serve, know, love and serve God, so you can be with Him forever in heaven. Then I think you have to be discerning what your operational gifts are, because like one of my children has this incredible gift of mercy, and she's got this incredible gift in this area, and I think that those are the serving gifts. But she wants to be a counselor, and I thought, perfect. She also has a gift of faith, and I think that's also right in there. And it's a supernatural faith. I mean, this was a girl, when kids teased someone at school when she was in the 4th grade, she came home and wrote a booklet with pictures telling this girl how beautiful she was to God. And, like what fourth grader comes home to do that? I've always said that there's something supernatural about Sarah in her faith. Like, it's just so grounded. So am I right in saying that particular areas of your gifting are because God is uniquely calling you to that area?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. The Lord gives us gifts for the area that He wants us to make our contribution in, and that's really true. It's really beautiful what you just shared about your daughter.
Yeah, it can be really scary, though, and this is what I think was the most important aspect of why I wanted you on. A lot of people don't understand what I mean when I'm saying operational gifts, and they do, but they don't, because the Holy Spirit has been speaking to them and has been reaching out to them, but I think fear and misunderstanding is maybe not enabling enough people to recognize the voice of the Holy Spirit speaking to them.
And a lot of this has been associated with the charismatic renewal movement that a lot of people have questions and concerns about. And one of the things, I remember one of the cardinals in the church who was responsible for guiding this movement said was the purpose of the charismatic renewal movement in the church was not to get everybody joining it, but to be a witness in the church to the reality of the Holy Spirit, the gifts of the Holy Spirit that belong to the entire church. And once the entire church awakens to what belongs to it and appropriates it and activates it, there's no need for a particular movement anymore. And people sometimes are afraid of emotionalism, or they say, I don't want to raise my hand, or I had a bad experience with somebody once, or something like that. And so if we could just put aside the fact that this isn't about a particular movement in the church, but this is about something that belongs to every single Catholic, it belongs to the Catholic Church, is something that the popes are crying out for us to appropriate. It's just really important for us to fulfill the purpose that we've been created for, to be joyful witnesses to Christ.
Yeah, I think that I guess I'll ask you to see what you think about this, but it seems to me that maybe so many kind of odd and hokey things are going on in the church after Vatican II that a lot of people have thrown the baby out with the bathwater, and they've begun rejecting anything that isn't legalistic enough for them. Like, I don't know if that's part of the rubric. Can you do that at a mass? I just know a lot of friends that after mass, all they did is they counted, or kept track of all the inconsistencies in the rubrics, and I'm thinking. I went into that legalism for a while because I too wanted to just be in a church that practiced the true faith, and I wanted to not have to concern myself with that. But I felt like that became a huge distraction in encountering the living God. But I also don't think we should just do whatever either. I mean, I'm not saying that.
No. We should absolutely, follow the rules of the church for the liturgy and everything like that. But we also have to remember that it's not just about doing the right number of genuflections and all that, but that the core of the Catholic Church and the life of the Catholic Church is involved with the mystery of Pentecost, and so if we don't allow the Holy Spirit to move and guide us as individuals and as a church, I mean, we're gonna really lock out God,
Yeah, especially in a day and age where we really truly need that. I want to give a quick example, and maybe you can, before letting you go, you can share another example, because I think it's so important that the audience get an idea of what I'm talking about. I was at a healing conference and never had done one before, and some people asked me to come up and pray for this woman with them, and I thought, well, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'll just pray that the Holy Spirit heal her, or that whatever you guys are doing works. And I started getting images in my mind. First I got an image of her bent over with a beam on her back, and it was, I felt a very powerful urging to say it out loud, but I felt, and I think this is another aspect, is I felt so insecure in this that I was like, I'm not going to say that. They're going to think I'm crazy, because they were praying for back pain, her back pain, and it became so strong. I thought, well, what do I have to lose to just say it? So I'll just say it, and I said, I see you bent over with a beam on your back. Like, could this be more of a cross, something that you're dealing with emotionally and not back pain? And she stood straight up and looked at me. And then I got another image of her laying on the floor, rocking back and forth, kind of like in a fetal position. And her face went from like a child to an adult, a child to an adult. So I thought, oh, maybe that's the kind of pain. So I just told her what I saw. And she all of a sudden said, how do you know that? How do you know I do that? Who told you I did that? No, I've never told anybody. I guess since she was a child, this was a way when she was overwhelmed with difficulties in life, she would put herself in a fetal position, lock the door, and rock back and forth. And then all of a sudden she said, how do you know that? And she was kind of scared. So I said a quick prayer and said, okay, God, you would not do something and create fear. So if this is truly of you, then you need to make sense of this. And all of a sudden, these words came out of my mouth. God asked you after the fact if it would be all right to share something very private that nobody but he and you could know, so that you would know and believe that even in the most hidden places, that God was always there and with you. Because knowing it coming out of my mouth would prove to you God must be real, and that's what you need. That's really where your wound is right now, is you feel that God isn't real. And she just wept, and I saw this release in her whole body. She was just smiling and laughing and crying at the same time, and I was like, what just happened? What was that? Like, how did I know something? And I guess that brought her so much healing and freedom, and it came out later she was on the verge of actually thinking about suicide, because she was somebody that worked in Catholic ministry, and she was feeling inadequate, and how can I have doubts when I'm in this position? And so she felt she couldn't share it with anybody. It was just huge healing. So
it's absolutely wonderful. It's really great. And a lot of times there's really like things that happen that are fairly spectacular like that, but a lot of times the Holy Spirit just gives little gentle nudges, like call somebody up, or see that person at church, go over and introduce yourself and see if there's any need there that you could pray for them, or give somebody this book, or you're talking too much, be quiet, type of thing, like just like little gentle nudges that the Holy Spirit gives us that we can become more sensitive to it. It's really good. So, Christina, I got to run, but I'm glad to hear what you're doing with your program and your ministry, your life, your family, and God bless you and all your listeners.
Oh, thank you so much for being on the program, and hopefully we can have you on again real soon.
Okay, great, Christina.
All right, thanks, Dr. Martin. All right, for all of you listening, remember you can check the Facebook page. I'll make sure that I put a link on there for you so that you can directly connect with Renewal Ministries and maybe even get one of those booklets for yourself. So we're going to go to break, and we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the operational gifts of the Holy Spirit and how you can discern where maybe the Holy Spirit is speaking to you in your own life so you can embrace your greatness. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.